Hi, everyone. Welcome to Atrium Research's YouTube channel. Today, I have the pleasure of interviewing Elaine Ellingham, the CEO of Omai Gold Mines. As a reminder, Omai is a company within our coverage that we believe has huge upside from an investment standpoint. And as such, we have a buy rating and a 30 cent per share target price on it. Elaine, good to have you here.
Thank you.
So with that, and the viewers that don't know the OMI story, do you mind just taking 5 or so minutes to walk us through at a high level, and then we'll dive into some questions after?
Sure, absolutely. Yeah. I guess the most important thing about Omai is it was a very large past producer, and it's located in the country of Guyana, which is down in the northern edge of South America. So the Omai mine actually produced 3.6 million ounces of gold, so it was a very substantial project. And we've been working on the project for about 2.5 years. We've put out two mineral resource estimates. There's two different deposits, the Wenot deposit and the Gilt Creek. Wenot's an open pit. Gilt Creek would be underground. They've come together really quickly, and that's partly because we have a very large database of historical work, and obviously these are past producing mines. So they always say the best place to find a new mine is next to an old mine, and this is yet another example of that. So we're quite well positioned. We have 100% interest in the project. It's a single large permit directly from the government. And in fact, working in Guyana has been quite favorable. It's considered one of the emerging areas that's very mining friendly. So so we've basically been drilling all of 2023, had some great drill results. So we're just going to be going into our third mineral resource estimate. Just to give you the quick location, there's Guyana there next to Suriname and beside Venezuela and next to the Caribbean. And it is an English-speaking country. It's the former British Guyana. Just on the top left, you can see we're just like you would expect. There's road access to it. There was road access when it was in production, and they're actually paving that road. In the top right there, you can see that's us heading down to the property about a month ago. So they're widening it, paving it. It's going to be quite convenient. Also, an airstrip on the project. The site's all cleared, so it's kind of ready to go. And we've been very fortunate because there's some old buildings there that we were able to repurpose for core logging and accommodation. So so it's a good site to work on. And the bottom right, you can see that's sort of a picture of the site. And there is a 350-acre tailings facility there that we've had an engineer in there looking at it. It looks like we can easily refurbish that and reuse it, and they're expandable, which is great. So I mean, a brownfields project obviously has certain advantages. That's just looking at our two deposits. The Gilt Creek is under a past producing pit that produced 2.4 million ounces. And then the Wenot deposit, we drilled below a long strike and on the flanks of a previous deposit, and very quickly came up with a 1.8 million ounce resource. So we've been drilling this year, and we expect that to expand. We're expecting that resource by year end. So this is just the block model. I guess the main takeaway from this, Ben, is this is over 2 kilometers of continuous deposit. Really amazing. You can just take a look and see 88% of what we've drilled to date is above 325 meters depth. So good depth for an open pit. And we believe we can go deeper. Just flipping through it. So I think one of the key things is we've kind of been noticed a little recently. We've had a sequence of very impressive drill results out, and mainly focusing out the west end of the pit where there wasn't, like, it's beyond where the previous mining was. So obviously that's a great place to start mining because it comes to surface. These results, great widths, 4 grams over 31 meters. This hole 65 was great. There was like 27.5 meters of 4.54 grams, and 10 meters further down, there was another 25 meters, 1.83. Anyway, you can kind of eyeball those results. They're really quite good, especially for an open pit deposit. The bottom one was drilled in the center part of the pit, and it's the deepest intersection we've done to date on the deposit. And the main zone is 5.18 grams over 20.2 meters, just fantastic. So we've been happy to see that. And Any questions for me there, Ben?
Yeah, no, well, that was a great quick overview for, again, the people that don't know the story.
Right.
But I, of course, have been following along. And so just to add to your last slide there, like you said, the recent drilling, a series of great drill results, 4.54 over 27 meters in August, and then in October, another 2.26 over 70 plus meters, very substantial widths, great grades, especially from an open pit perspective. And then even more recently, November 13th, I think it was 5.9 over 12 as well. So getting into some of these higher grade portions. And then so just expanding on the drilling a little bit, are there any more drill results to come? And then can you just touch on how this might impact the Wenot resource with that upcoming resource update?
Great. Yeah, so these are all the Wenot drill holes that they've all been released, and those were the priorities. So we have 2 additional drill holes that were on exploration targets away from the Wenot deposit that we've been doing some work on. So we just wanted to put a couple drill holes there to sort of set us up for next year. Those should be coming out shortly. But yeah, so we do expect a lot of these intersections you're looking at, like for example, the one, if you can see that section, there's the constraining pit up above there. Sorry, not sure if you can see that constraining pit for the last resource. And all of that intersection that you see is below the constraining pit. So we obviously are going to be adding quite a bit of tonnage and ounces in this next resource. So we expect that before year end or maybe early in the new year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, great. No, it's definitely going to be very exciting. And then following that, the PEA, I imagine it will be pretty impactful for the economics around that. So then just from another point of view, and I'm not sure if the listeners are aware, but the stock price has been doing pretty well over the last week and a half, rising from 4 cents to about 7, I believe, as of today, which is, close to a 75% increase. You mind just touching on that a little bit and how the excitement is sort of rising here?
Right. Yeah, I think it was a combination of, as you noted, like the drill results just kept coming out over the last several months, and it's been a spectacular sort of series of drill holes. And I think, the market was pretty much asleep, especially with respect to juniors. So we were sitting there with kind of a 16, 18 million market cap, with a fairly substantial resource at a brownfields project. So I think, the gold price started to move, and a lot of people had started to take notice of our drill results. And I think that's the base of it, really.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's exciting. And then even, I guess, gold poking above 2000 has brought some people into the sector. And then on top of that, so I just want to highlight for the listeners, of course, you're, a development company. This is a historical operation, brownfields, as you mentioned. So could you just touch on all of the infrastructure that's in and around the project, and then even more externally, just the investment that's been coming internationally in the oil and gas sector, which is bringing a lot of tax revenues to the country, which is really positioning Guyana as a great investment for mining developers, and how that might be able to increase, or I guess quicken the path to production for you guys.
Right. Well, yeah, I mean, basically on site, it's a cleared site still. I guess where the advantage is the road access. It's going to be paved within 10 kilometers, probably by the late next year. With respect to other infrastructure, yeah, there's the airstrip and things. The mill was moved long ago, obviously. So, I mean, you'd have to do another mill. But I guess where some of the benefits lie, or some of the old studies are still extremely relevant, such as all the metallurgical studies, recoveries, and things like that. Because what we're looking at is really extensions of the previous mine mineralization. And so we wouldn't expect the metallurgy to be significantly different. So with respect to the country, yeah, oil was discovered offshore in 2015, and it has come together. They're basically saying that by 2027, I think they were saying that the GDP per capita in Guyana is going to exceed that of the UAE, and just incredible. So the country is going through a lot of transformation. And I mean, the oil industry came together very quickly. You know, ExxonMobil's in there with a consortium. Just recently, a few weeks ago, Chevron purchased Hess for 56 billion. And really the crown jewel of Hess is the Guyana offshore oil. So it just speaks to how quickly that industry is moving forward. Yeah. And the tax revenues and the royalties that the government is getting in Guyana is just changing their world so quickly. You know, I think there's seven hospitals under construction, but you know, you might think, oh, does that mean they're going to turn their back on mining? And not at all. I mean, this country has a huge history in gold mining, and including the Omai mine, obviously, when it was in production.
Yeah.
It was employed 1,000 people. But I think actually it's gonna help the mining industry, because they really want jobs, and they want more infrastructure into the hinterland, and that's what mining brings, right? So they're great propellants of, you know, wanting to see more mines come into production.
Yeah, no, that's really exciting, and like you said, all the infrastructure upgrades that the country will be doing over the next number of years will only help the mining sector, and in turn you guys. And then, so just lastly, do you mind just touching on sort of the catalysts that are coming up? I know we talked about the mineral resource update, but then what's following that as we head into 2024?
Yeah, so I mean, the major ones are, of course, as you said, the updated resource for Wenot. And we are also at the same time, we're starting to do some of the baseline studies and things like that towards the PEA. And, you know, a lot of times, like, this projects come together very quickly, but because it is a brownfields project, we kind of have, you know, one foot into the advanced exploration, like almost into the, you know, how are you going to develop the mine? So we believe it's time to move towards the PEA. I think that's probably going to drive some of the programs for next year, but at the same time, we know that the Omai deposit is open along strike. We've just been trying to accelerate the work to get towards the PEA, but we still believe that Wenot deposit can probably be expanded by another 50%.
Wow. Yeah, and exactly like you said, there's a lot of undrilled territory there along the strike that is low hanging fruit. I imagine that you guys could develop into in 2024.
Absolutely. And we actually just we did an IP survey on the eastern and western extensions, because we know that those shear corridor, it continues, and where we have our best gold mineralization, there's enough sulfide associated that the IP will pick that up. So we're hoping that will even accelerate our drilling along strike.
Great. Well, Elaine, thanks for the overview, as well as sort of a little bit of a deeper dive into the recent updates and the catalyst coming. It does sound like it's going to be an exciting few months ahead for you guys. And yeah, for our followers, if you haven't seen our research on OMI, it can all be found on our website at atriumresearch.ca. Elaine, thank you for your time.
Great, thank you.